What's up, what's up, what's up? Hey everybody, back again. I forget which video this is. I think it's number 29, I'm guessing. Anyway, today's video is part 3 of the Jungian shadow and personal development. And this is just kind of off the cuff. I don't really even have so much of an outline for this in mind, but I figured I would just go over some key pop cultural images of the shadow. And how, you know, from this kind of Tantra Tibetan style view of how everything good and evil is part of the mandala, and it all works to the common benefit in the whole when you take things as a whole. Okay, so as I was saying in the first video, everywhere in all mythology and pop culture, there's these stories about the shadow and the persona, right? So probably one of the most well-known, I mean, I already went over Luke Skywalker and Rey, right? So let's go over Lord of the Rings. You know, I mean, come on, the whole thing is about the shadow, and I could go into super detail, but let's just talk about Golem. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the books because nobody reads the fucking books anymore. But let's talk about Golem. Okay, the whole Lord of the Rings, War of the Rings thing, well, it's about two people, really. It's about Isildur, which most people don't know about because he's only in the movie for a second. But let's talk about Golem. What is up with Golem? Okay, first of all, let's take the fact that Tolkien heavily studied Kabbalah and all this stuff. He was a very scholarly person. So Golem in Kabbalah is a dead corpse, or like a clay statue that's animated to life, right? So it's essentially devoid of what we would consider like a soul, or this human consciousness that is our divine spark within, right? So Golem is completely 100% the personification of the ego and the shadow. How does he get the ring? His friend finds the ring, right? And he kills his own friend to get the ring. And his rationale is what? It's my birthday. I deserve it. It's my birthday. It's all about me. I get the ring. And so, but the thing is, without Golem, the Middle Earth would never be saved, right? Remember that final scene where Bilbo is in the crack of doom, and he's got the ring and he's ready to go. And at the last moment, his lust for the ring takes him over, and he's like, fuck it, I'm not doing it, you know? So what saves the day? Golem's unquenchable fucking murderous desire for the ring. He fucking grabs Frodo, bites his finger off, and falls into the crack of doom, right? So basically, without him and his evil, complete self-centered ignorance, the ring would not be saved. Because ultimately, in the end, even though Bilbo is the big hero and he gets all the gold and he gets the treasure and he gets to be whatever president of the Shire or whatever happens in the end, Golem actually is the one that saves the day. And this is deep. Okay, go back to Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Almost identical. I wonder if the Lawrence Kasdan or whoever wrote that script knew and was consciously mimicking Lord of the Rings. But what happens in Empire Strikes Back? Fucking Luke Skywalker battling the Emperor, right? Who saves the day? Darth Vader saves the fucking day. Luke is on his fucking last legs, practically dead, fully shocked by the fucking Emperor into comatose fucking electroconvulsive therapy, Star Wars style. He's fucking, you know, shuddering and shaking, and like he's getting all shocked. Darth Vader creeps up in the end and saves the fucking day. Throws the Emperor into the crack of doom, into the pit of this whatever nuclear reactor or whatever that Death Star shit is going on. I forget exactly, but he throws him down this pipe and he fucking supposedly dies, right? So again, the shadow is what saves the day. And in fact, it's Luke's desire to redeem his shadow. Well, it's, you know, so they kind of cooperate. He cooperates with his shadow side, Darth Vader. And look at the name Darth Vader. I mean, it's Dark Father or Dark Water, possibly. But anyways, you know, we're looking at all the significance of this, right? So Vader is who begets Luke. And what's Luke? Luke's in Latin is light. Lucas, you know, George Lucas. Come on, man. Luke Skywalker is the light of the sky, right? And Darth, Dark Father, right? Or Dark Water. So you have light and dark. Come on, man. You know, the blue and the red lightsabers. I mean, it's full Masonic. It's full Freemasonry, man. I could just go on and on, you know. But the point is this battle between dark and light, okay? So let's look at another piece of pop culture garbage that contains the secret of psychological development, and that is Harry Potter, okay? Who's the big villain in Harry Potter? Voldemort, right? Now, again, check it again. It's completely the same exact story. How Gollum and Bilbo, right? These two little short dudes that get the ring, right? Then you got Luke and Darth Vader, right? Then you got Harry Potter and Voldemort. Like, Voldemort scars Harry Potter with his fucking lightning blast or whatever it is, and fucking confers him the parcel tongue and all this power. So Harry Potter has Voldemort's power. That's what makes him powerful, is this evil, the shadow, okay? Voldemort, what does that name mean? It's French, and it means flies from death. So look at the contrast between Harry and Voldemort. Voldemort is got to gain all this power and do all this evil ass shit and kill everybody and do all this shit so he can have power to what? Be immortal and not die. His whole definition of his character is the fleeing from death. Voldemort, right? So what happens in the end? Harry Potter goes full Jesus Christ and fucking dies to save everybody. See how that works? And then there's some real Tantra shit in there where he fucking travels in time and he saves himself through time travel by going through the portal of death. That's some heavy shit, right? But without Voldemort, Harry would never be who he is, number one. The whole drama of all the movies would never happen without Voldemort. And ultimately, in the end, Harry would not be able to conquer death and save everybody without Voldemort. And his identity would not be defined because he defines himself in contrast to the shadow. Okay? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. So this is the big lesson of Tantra and of reality itself, is that there really is no individuality. And this is anatta in Buddhism. This is anatta, the lack of an independent absolute self, immortal self, or like changeless self, right? Nothing exists by itself. Everything exists by contrast and by interplay and by interdependence, right? And so that's the same with good and evil, light and darkness, you know? So we spend all our lives trying to create this persona, this personality that's like the play version of us, or the movie star version of ourselves. And we buy all these clothes, and okay, we do all this thing. We try to create this persona mask of ourself, and the perfect version of ourself that's flawless and heroic and gorgeous and physically strong and truthful and pure and consistent. And of course, we're none of those things. You know, we have a shadow, inevitably. Even the best person in the world, you know, like one of my personal heroes, and I think one of the greatest teachers in history that I've ever come across, is this guy Chogyam Trungpa, Tibetan Buddhist Lama. And the dude was full alcoholic, man. And he was a philanderer. He was fucking all his disciples and stuff. But dude, the guy was unfucking believable. Like if you hear most Tibetan lamas that are full straight out of Tibet, they can barely, their English is hard to decipher for most people. They're not that fluent. But Trungpa, dude, that guy was a fucking poet, dude. And he was, if you hear him speak, he's speaking full King's English, dude. He's so eloquent and so poetic, and he uses all the vernacular terms of the 60s and 70s to relate to these fucking drugged up hippies and stuff. And he fully goes into ultimate Buddhist teacher, man. He fully chameleons out and he puts on the suit and tie. He fucking wears the glasses. He talks with the full Oxford accent. then he talks like a hippie. He's fully, but the dude was an alcoholic, and he would go get plastered and fucking give these complete brilliant lectures, like, but he's demonstrating this shadow ego thing where he's like, look, my physical body can be hammered and drunk as fuck and like ready to fall off the chair, but when I sit here and I embody the Dharma and I start teaching, I'm gonna be the fucking model of eloquence, and I'm gonna enlighten the fuck out of you in a perfect vernacular that is perfectly understandable for you. The dude was a fucking genius, and his writings are so brilliant. But like, he'll get up there plastered and start lecturing, and then the minute the lecture's over, he'll like fall over and pass out drunk and go get in some car accident and get almost paralyzed. You know what I mean? So just showing this duality principle that exists within us all. He's like perfectly embodying it. And in Tibetan style, they call this the crazy wisdom, right? And I mean, I could tell you so many stories in my life of learning deep, profound, life-altering lessons from crazy hobo alcoholics and degenerate people and the worst type of criminals and perverts and fucking nut jobs. They all can teach us if you understand the context. Like, that's what I'm saying about interdependence. It's all about context, how things interrelate, and the contrast between light and shadow. You know, this is the profound source of truth that we all can have access to. So let's see how many, I got like 3 or 4 minutes left. Let me try to give an example of how we work with this, right? So think of some trauma in your life, right? We all go through traumas, you know? I mean, I could list the traumatic shit from my life, but it's fucking gross and nasty, so I'm not gonna talk about it that much. But let's say, okay, I'll talk real quick. I'm just off the cuff here. Let's talk about university, my experience attending university. So light and dark, right? The light side is, I come out of this little podunk town. I basically read everything in the library. I would go to every library in the town system all over and read all the books. You know, I was reading Divine Comedy and Dante when I was, I don't know, 16 or 17. You know, Shakespeare, fucking all the philosophy, you know, Taoism, everything I could get. And it was limited. But like, I would go to the library, the county, you know, head of the library, and look through their catalogs and be like, oh, this book and that book, and I would be getting the books transferred from these different libraries and everything. But the thing was super limited, right? So I get out to UCSB in 1994 was when I started actually attending school, but I was here a year before that. But like, I get to the library, unfucking believable. And this is back in the days, there was barely any internet. The internet was mostly text-based. Like, Netscape had kind of just come out. Graphical user interface of the internet was barely a thing. There was like JPEGs, you know, there was like, you know, a MOV file, MOVs or MP4s or whatever it was at that time. MPEGs, that's what it was. MPEGs would take like, for like a 30-second video on the dial-up, you know, 9600 modem, it would take like a full day to download like a 30-second video. This is what it was at, and it was all text-based. But I would go flip through the card catalog, this big fucking thing of cards and everything. So that's, again, it's light and shade. It's like, compared to how kids research now and how I research now, that's the fucking prehistoric Stone Age. But you know what? It gives you patience. It gives you diligence. It gives you a memory. You have to write everything manually down and fucking go dig through the stacks and look through the microfiche, and like, everything was so different the way that research was done back then. And like, but so that's the shadow side is, yeah, it's fucking archaic and like slow. But the bright side is you put in work and you get the discipline and the diligence, right? So the bright side was I got this access to an unbelievable reservoir of knowledge that had never been accessible to me, and my whole world was blowing up. Like, I was getting all this knowledge and just mushroom cloud of fucking expansive knowledge, you know, and all that, and learning. But I was learning all this darkness, all the darkness of history and the corruption and the fucking craziness of our society. I was studying a lot of postmodern theory, and basically my philosophy on postmodern theory is that the modern world is mental illness. It's like an externalized mental illness, and it creates mental illness and schizophrenia within everybody. And that's the purpose of it. Like, you go through, if you look at the course of history, you go through this increased process of individuation to the point of total disconnection and fragmentation of our society and everything. And so, you know, you're learning all these things. Man, this video is already overlinked. I wasn't watching carefully enough. But like, the dark side, light side is that you get the light, you get all this information, and you break through. But basically, you're seeing all the dark side. And you're seeing the fact that the university system itself is evil. I mean, there's no other way to say it. They produce nuclear weapons for the fucking US government. You know, they train high-level military Satanists, you know, in psychological warfare, and publish their thesis on how to fucking destroy people's minds and use it as an instrument of war. You know, this is the university system. So it's light and dark. You know, you get this dark illumination into all this wickedness, but out of that, you learn the opposite. You learn what health is, what mental health is, and how to do the opposite, how to build up a healthy mental architecture within, and have this healthy interconnected reality that's beyond this golem style ego and Darth Vader ego that wants power and, you know, individual aggrandizement at the expense of the whole universe, and is ready to enslave the whole galaxy just to fucking assert egotism, you know? So that's my conclusion of it all, and how light and darkness work together. And if you truly can see the shadow and illuminate its boundaries with light and define its character, then by contrast, that also illuminates positivity and the way forward, and how to have healthy integration, and how to coexist in a positive, mutually beneficial way with society and all reality. And so I guess that's my sort of rambling conclusion to this series on shadow and personal development. I hope it helps you, and I hope you find something useful there. Good day to you.